Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. With just 3 days to go, is the monsoon session of Parliament a washout? And if it is, what does that mean for GST, the government's land acquisition amendments, but equally importantly, what does it mean for the government's economic agenda, and perhaps most importantly of all, for the government's political resolve? Those are the key issues I shall raise today with the Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs, Rajiv Pratap Rudy. Minister, let's start with Parliament. You've got just 3 days left for the monsoon session. Can you tonight accept this is now a washout?
Well, it can have two definitions to it. Washout or a logjam resulting in a washout. But there was some business which is possibly because the other house was also behaving the same way. So washout could not be the right word, but exactly yes, we could not achieve as much as we achieved in the previous two sessions.
Let me ask you this. Are there any back-channel contacts at the moment between the government and Congress in particular which give you some hope that maybe something can happen in the last 3 days?
You see, there is a strength of 544. There are 44 in the Congress. Now they have decided on a formula which says an ex-minister or y-minister must resign before they want us to come in and participate. So that's also okay if you don't want to come in and participate. At least others have a right to participate. There are 500 more members of parliament. They said no, we will come inside, we'll come in the floor, in the well of the house, we'll use placards, we'll scream and we'll climb on the speaker's desk.
Completely disrupt parliament, I agree.
So they are not using the grey matter or the strength of their voice or their philosophy or their ideology to speak out things which I may have committed a wrong or the government may have committed a wrong. But they're using the brutal force. Now the essence of democracy is not, it's not a akhada or it's not a battlefield. It's a place where in democracy you talk. I may agree or disagree.
Mr. Rudy,
so this process has been discontinued.
I accept what you're saying completely. But the point is, their ability and capacity to disrupt Parliament has been successful. It's unfortunate, I don't deny it, but it's successful. The Rajya Sabha hasn't functioned today. Even the Lok Sabha was adjourned to 3. And that's why I ask, in this situation, many people feel the only hope is if the Prime Minister takes a personal initiative and rings up Sonia Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi. Is Mr. Modi, to preserve the last 3 days of Parliament, to preserve your legislation, prepared to take that step?
So what's the purpose and why they don't want to discuss? And we have never said that the Prime Minister will not come and reply or respond or be present. We have always said that let the issue be debated. What we are emphasizing, there are many issues. There are issues in which you want to charge someone, you want to make accusation against someone, or you want to have a clarification. They say, no. There's no question of discussion. There's no question of... First, you send us the resignation of X and Y.
That I know. But in this situation, why can't the Prime Minister...
No, they have said, whoever may talk to us, you see the speaker...
But has he tried to pick up the phone and talk to them? Sometimes a personal initiative works.
You see, yes.
He has.
No, what I'm trying to say is, we will involve the Prime Minister because he has been talking to her on Bangladesh Accord, on many more issues. So there's no communication gap. The point is, we should have a feeler, at least a feeler.
From them?
From them, that at least, if you could, because they talk to us on many issues. You see, in Parliament...
I'm interrupting you. You're saying something very important. You're suggesting to me that if you get some sign or feel or indication from them, the PM can take a first step.
The day we can read that they want the House to run, we will go more than what they expect. Because they conclude in every discussion that they will, whatever may be your suggestion, whatever may be your approach. And today what has happened? Every political party has sat and talked to them that we want the House to run. They said, no, first get us the resignation, otherwise we'll not. So they're using the brutal strength or the force, the physical strength to stall the House.
I'll come to what happened today in a moment's time because I want very much to talk to you about what happened today. But first, I want to clarify something very important that you've half suggested. And I want you to now make it clear.
If that makes it work,
the PM will pick up the phone.
If that makes it work, but we are convinced that they are not looking for that.
But you said something very important, I'm clarifying it. If you get a feeler or indication that the response from the other side could be an acceptable one, then the PM is prepared to pick up the phone, ring up Sonia, ring up Rahul and say, let's get Parliament functioning. That is something you're saying.
If they come to a discussion that they want the Parliament to function, they have taken a stand that A will not speak anything inside Parliament,
so what you're saying
B will come to Karan Thapar, or on a podium outside and speak. So they have changed the entire
But you're saying a
paradigm.
very important thing. You're saying the PM is prepared to take that one critical step if you have a sense that they will
Yes,
take an
I
equal
think
step
so.
back.
I think so. It
In
should
other
be
words,
like
you want a 50-50 arrangement, not the PM going whole hog
We
one
cannot
way.
ask the PM to call them up when we are knowing very well that they don't want to participate in parliament. So we'll never ask.
You're
But
very-
if anything is there in the whole system of all of us, you see, it's just not me as parliamentary affairs or my senior minister Venkaiah Naidu, even the senior colleagues, even Mr. Arun Jaitley in the other house. Every time the speaker calls a meeting, it's a meeting before the parliament, meeting during the parliament, she calls the meeting to tell them that, look, this behavior is not accepted. Meetings are, in fact, we are tired of the meetings with just trying to hold meetings with opposition.
Before we get lost in detail, I'm re-clarifying an important point you've made. That if you get a sense that the response from the other side will be an adequate one, the PM is prepared to take a personal initiative, pick up the phone,
yes.
pick up the phone and talk to
Possibly,
Sonia.
yes. But we
Possibly,
are
yes.
not convinced that the opposition wants that. The Congress wants that. Opposition, yes.
Let me move to another issue that in a sense has perhaps bedeviled the relationship. Many people feel...
And the Prime Minister participated in the all-party meeting held in Parliament.
Well, yes and no. Many people felt he was sitting there in silence, but let's not come to that. Leave that out. A second issue that perhaps has bedeviled the relationship is that some people believe that the suspension of 25 Congress MPs may have been a mistake. Before that, Congress internally was divided over its strategy in Parliament. Shashi Tharoor's objections were well known. And secondly, many in the opposition felt that Congress was isolating itself. But the second 25 got suspended, opposition solidarity emerged behind Congress.
They wanted this to happen. In fact, some of the Congress members
So did you
came
play
and
into
asked,
the hand?
Just, no. They came and said that why don't you get us suspended? So it exactly means they
Senior congressman asked you to do that?
they want that publicity. They thought it's a big publicity.
Can you name
and
the
then,
congressman
why
who
should
said-
I do that? That's not my job.
But you're actually saying congressman came to you and said this?
And they've been talking. When are you getting us expelled? They were asking us, when are you getting us
But
expelled?
seriously or just taunting you?
No, I know. They thought they would get a political advantage because what Mr. Karan Thapar is saying today would have, the debate would have been, if they were there, they could have reconciled. Now that they have been thrown out, they will not reconcile.
Did they get that advantage? Because that's the
now
question.
what I mean to say, let's make it very clear. Why were these Congress MPs suspended? Can you tell me?
Because they were disrupting the House, because they were waving placards, because they were being insubordinate to the Speaker. All those reasons apply. But the
There was
point
only
is,
one reason why it happened.
which is,
The Speaker said, you have political issues, you sort it out whichever way you want. Just a second. She said, I just requesting you for two things. Don't come in the well of the House. Speak from whatever you want to speak from your chair, and don't show placards. She kept on repeatedly saying this, that you don't do these two things, and then whatever problems you have, it's between the political parties. I have to be a...
and eventually they didn't listen and she suspended.
They kept on forcing her. They kept on screaming. They kept on climbing on her table. They kept on doing everything. First,
All
Adhir
of
Ranjan
that's-
Chaudhary was
all of
suspended.
that's I understand.
Then, so they...
But what about the consequences of suspending? Have you ended up uniting the opposition behind Congress, whereas earlier Congress was being isolated?
No, Congress is still today isolated. Congress was isolated then.
What makes you think Congress is isolated today? There are reports that Mulayam Singh Yadav has apparently behind closed doors spoken in a somewhat threatening fashion to Congress, saying enough is enough. Are those reports true? Can you confirm that?
I think so. Mulayam Singh Yadav, who said, and he in his own words, he said, you cannot take democracy for a ransom. And he did out of his anguish say कि democracy में मनमानी थोड़ी न चलती है.
ये किसको कहा था उन्होंने?
In the meeting,
कांग्रेस के कौन थे वहाँ पे?
सब leaders थे. You see,
मतलब
today
खड़गे साहब,
again,
आजाद साहब?
you see everyone in the house watched. No, it was with the Lok Sabha speaker. Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav wanted to speak something. And the Congress members who were agitating in the well of the house did not allow him to speak. So he was very upset. So he beckoned to the speaker. And the speaker adjourned said, Mulayam Singh ji, आइए सबसे बात करते हैं. The meeting took place. There was NCP, there was Aam Aadmi Party, there was TMC, there was TDP, there was KCR group. Everyone was there. We were there. Parliamentary Affairs
And
was there.
that's where Mulayam spoke out.
And Mulayam Singh ji was there. Even RJD was there. Even JDU was there. Mulayam Singh said that the best part which Mulayam Singh ji possibly mentioned, which possibly there was in the televisions also. He said ki kya baat hai? What is the issue? Now, naturally this became a question. He said, what is the issue you want to raise? So the leaders in the opposition said that everyone knows the issue. He says, no, I don't know the issue. If you want to because we have stood by the Congress party. If you want to raise those issues, come and speak in front of me. And then I will decide whether I am with you or not. You cannot stop my opportunity for others to speak. Now, this is very important.
This was Mulayam speaking directly to the Congress leaders at the party.
In the discussion.
And this leads you to the conclusion that, far from my question, that suspending Congress MPs has united the opposition behind
No,
Congress.
I'm not getting into that issue altogether. But there is a sense prevailing, whether it's BJD, whether it is a communist, I can perceive that, whether it is the Congress, the RJD, or they all feel that, what's up to you? What are you up to?
Can I put this to you? You may be right that today a fracture has emerged between Mulayam Singh Yadav on the one hand and Congress on the other.
There's no fracture. No, let's not put it as a fracture.
Maybe it's not.
From day one, all these political parties have been saying that we want discussions to take place. And so much so, I can tell you, so much so for tomorrow, a motion under 193 has been admitted by the Speaker to discuss the exact issue which the Congress has been raising. And if the Congress does not come to the House tomorrow, that means they are not interested in the issue. They're not interested in the facts. They're not interested in the process. They are interested in going on the streets because they have no strength inside the House. They have no strength outside the House. So they are over.
In the Lok Sabha, Congress will probably have to do as the majority wants. And if Mulayam Singh Yadav and other opposition parties, as you're saying, have now done a slight shift in their position and Congress is isolated,
I'm not saying whether they have shifted their position.
But what
they
about
say, what is the
Rajya Sabha
what is the underlying?
In the Rajya Sabha, they are 68 to your 48.
It's not the numbers. Let's forget the numbers.
Rajya Sabha doesn't function.
Where is the question of any numbers coming in? We are saying what? The BJP, the NDA, the government is saying what? Bring the issue, talk it in front of Parliament. Why is the Congress party shying away from coming to Parliament and speaking?
Let's come to the issue, because the issue that lies at the bottom of this whole is in fact two things. First, Congress says that their stand that there will be no debate until there are resignations is actually a precedent set by the BJP in 2010-2011. Arun Jaitley was the one who gave the justification when he said obstruction is a legitimate parliamentary tactic. Let me put something to you. Why doesn't Mr. Modi make a statement where he says, today I accept that the BJP was wrong in 2010-11 in disrupting, and from that moral high ground, he should say to Congress,
it's not the question of summonizing this process.
Tell Congress not to repeat the mistake.
You see, the grounds of the congressmen resigning is certainly different from what you are asking today. Either there was a court case, there was a court indictment, there was a CAG report, or there was an FIR or an investigation or a possibility of an arrest or an arrest. All these conditions do not apply. You have got up one fine morning on a particular case where there is no prima facie evidence of an FIR, there is no government indictment, there is no court indictment, there is no CAG indictment, there is because a perception is being
created.
Perception which was created for whatsoever reason is being processed to say that you are an accused.
But Mr. Rudy, I'm going to I'm getting out of the tutu meme. I'm going to a higher level. Let me finish my question.
Let's put it. Sushma Swaraj may be assumingly everything is wrong. If she was wrong, why don't you stand in front of her?
Can I interrupt for a moment?
And say that these are all wrong?
Can I interrupt for a moment? I'm trying to go to a higher level. I'm not getting into the tutu meme about whether in 2009-10 BJP was right or whether Congress today is right. I'm saying, because the functioning of Parliament is so important, because disruption is so wrong, why doesn't Mr. Modi take the moral high ground and say, disruption was wrong when we did it, it's wrong today, let's both of us not do it.
No, these things,
The country would be with Mr. Modi.
No. There is a process in Parliament. So Mr. Modi and as a Prime Minister would come and speak, and then they will walk into the floor of the House and scream and shout, we do not want. Let the debate start. Let the Congress raise the issue. Just a second. Let the debate start at least to the process. The Prime Minister can start the debate, he can intervene in the debate, conclude in the debate or come as a human. Where actually the process is not that. What we want is that let the House start talking. Why is the Congress party refraining from talking?
Let me come to that. Because
we as the government, we know exactly when the Prime Minister has to speak, he knows the best. So why do you have to worry about that? And we are not there in a minority that the Prime Minister is going to be scared to speak in Parliament. And the only Prime Minister who's spoken for at least 18 times in last 1 year on even smaller issues.
Let's come to the issue, because repeatedly you said Congress doesn't want to address the issue. Let's come to the issue. The issue is sadly at the moment Sushma Swaraj. And I want to quote to you Sitaram Yechury's argument. He says that in fact the legislature doesn't exist to govern, it exists to make the executive accountable. Secondly, he says, in these circumstances, what's required is an investigation. Thirdly, he says, for an investigation to be free, fair, impartial and objective, the minister concerned must step aside. Fourthly and finally, he says...
What is the charge?
Let me finish. If the minister...
What is the charge?
No, let me finish and then you answer. If the minister will not voluntarily step aside or the Prime Minister will not dismiss her, then not only is the disruption justified, it's necessary. How do you respond to that logic? Because that's the argument you're presented with.
No. So my question is, what is the charge against Sushma Swaraj?
The charge is threefold. Abuse of office, conflict of interest, quid pro quo, and a possibility that she's guilty of breaching the Prevention of Corruption Act, Section 13(1)(d)(3).
Where are these facts? It's on the television, where with so much of channels, just a second, with so much of PIL, so much of court case, why hasn't anyone moved ahead and done it? Why do you want a non-substantive inquiry to take place? Because you speak all this language. Now, let me... The first question... let's stop. Karan, you have spoken these... This is how you built up a case? And you do not even have a prima facie evidence for a thing. So you try to speak languages and breach of interest, and these are words and jargons to complicate matters. First question, where is as a charge which has been positioned? Does an FIR get instituted inside a discussion, on a discussion inside Parliament? Does it constitute a first information report? Is there on what basis?
Can I answer that?
On what basis? Is there an accident or an incident?
Sitaram Yechuri and Anand Sharma have both said that if a similar charge was brought against a civil servant, an investigation would happen. Why should the minister be different?
Their ideology and their situation, they are existing in one state called Tripura. They are wiped off from the country. So that is the least which they can do, and it's very irrelevant as this point of time what he speaks. Few quotes in English would not constitute an offence. Next. When you talk about all these issues, whatever you are raising, the person who is being accused, please, the person who is being accused is saying, I want to answer each and everything which Karan Thapar is saying. So you have debated it on the television channel with your contents, come to Parliament, beam it live and ask the Congress people to ask much more difficult questions. Why don't you allow that to happen?
Rahul Gandhi has...
Why don't you... No. Why do you stop?
With that question, Congress answer. Yes. But let me put something to you because I think
this is your channel. You are beaming it correct. You are having your questions. Forget it. I may not be having the answer to all these questions. Just a second.
But I can't answer Congress behalf because I'm not Congress.
So exactly. So what I am saying is, my plea to the congressman, exactly all those questions and 50 more such questions, or maybe 200.
Ask them in Parliament.
Just a second. All these 200 questions with best of English of Sitaram Yechuri, and whatever Anand Sharma can still make their best of effort. All this, ask them to make questions.
Okay.
And some of them who can speak in Hindi also.
Can I interrupt?
Some of them who can speak... Just a second.
You made the point. Let me interrupt now.
No. Sometimes if I have a point, you have to listen because others... And 20 more forums, you discuss it in debates, seminars, everywhere. You go to your channels, discuss. You have your own agenda. You get guests who can't speak back or would not like to speak back. We have a forum. We as members of Parliament.
Which is Parliament. Come to Parliament and speak.
But Parliament, and there is a Minister for External Affairs who says, please ask me questions.
You've made all those points. Now
I want to beam into the country, let them decide.
Now you have to listen to me. In a sense, Rahul Gandhi has raised those questions not inside but outside. He's repeatedly called Sushma Swaraj a criminal. Both on Friday and again today, Monday. Let me finish. Both on Friday and again today, Monday, he said publicly on television that her husband and her daughter have taken money from Lalit Modi to get him out of jail or to keep him out of jail, to be accurate. This is potentially libelous.
Yes.
Why is Mrs. Swaraj silent? Why is she not coming out and rebutting this? Because it's libel.
Libel, absolutely.
So why is she silent?
Now, that is what I'm saying. I can make out from whatever happens inside the Parliament, inside the leaders' meeting, that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is clueless as what is happening in his party. I think he doesn't know, or he does not want to know, or is incapable of knowing what is happening in the party.
Why do you say this?
Because there is a complete disconnect in what he speaks, because he doesn't come to Parliament. I do not know whether he attends his parliamentary party meeting or the group meeting or not. He's clueless. That I can say it on record from whatever I can assess, because whatever he goes and speaks in outside on a television channel is something which is absolutely nowhere in the discussion.
Are you saying that inside Parliament his party leaders are not echoing the same thing?
No, they have not been able to speak any of this. And B, is Mr. Rahul Gandhi a member of Parliament?
Yes, of course.
Can't he speak these things inside Parliament?
Well, that's his prerogative.
When you're talking,
but I'm asking something else.
But my question is, Yes, now you are, because he has spoken on a channel, television channel something, and I have to respond outside. I don't want to. I want Sushma Swaraj to answer each and everything, because that is a legitimate. Just a second. That is a legitimate platform. What is a legitimate? Just a second. What is a legitimate platform for a member of parliament in the government? Is it a television channel? Or Mr. Karan
Well, we're
Thapar?
going back to the same
Just a
point.
second. If Rahul Gandhi has the courage to go out and make such charges against Sushma Swaraj, why doesn't he have the courage to come inside parliament and say that I want to speak that? Why doesn't he speak
But this is
why
libel.
is he
Why
not
is
capable?
Sushma silent? That's what I'm
No,
asking.
no,
Why
no,
doesn't
we'll
she
do
take
it.
him
We'll
to
handle
court?
it. No, no.
Why doesn't she sue him for
because
defamation?
why should we do him? I said he's clueless. He does not even know what is happening inside parliament. I can tell you. He just vanished and came back after some time, last session of parliament. Actually, he's not aware. I'm very sorry, but Mr. Gandhi does not know.
Rahul Gandhi
he
has
does not
really
know
got
about
under-
what is happening in parliament, or for that matter, in his party as well. I can say it with great
Can I put this to you?
responsibility.
Just a few days ago,
And Karan, you cannot ask me if X, Y, and Z, who are clueless, go and speak everywhere, and I'm going to file. Who is
I'll
he?
tell you why I'm asking
His
you.
identity
I'll
is
tell you why I'm
his
asking
only
you.
identity is
No,
his only
Mr.
identity
Rudy,
is
pause,
he
pause.
deserves an answer. He deserves an answer if he can
Nick,
speak in
the
parliament.
reason
He
I'm-
doesn't deserve an answer.
Mr.
So
Rudy,
there
you
will be
must let me speak.
tomorrow
You must let me
50
speak.
more people will go and speak about him outside parliament.
I'll tell you
just
why I'm
supposed to
asking this
respond.
question, because
Yeah.
Nitin Gadkari, a colleague of yours, a senior minister in the government, publicly said that in fact Rahul Gandhi must apologize, and if he doesn't apologize,
It's okay.
a defamation suit will be filed. 10 days have passed, Rahul Gandhi hasn't apologized, and I'm asking you, will Nitin Gadkari or Sushma Swaraj or the BJP file
This
a
is
defamation suit?
Let them decide. I'm not there to decide on this. My only submission is if he has voice in his mouth. Mr. Rahul Gandhi from your channel, he has voice in his mouth. He has the courage and the conviction. He should come in parliament to speak. He should not waste everyone's time. Use his 44 members as arms or a stick to stop parliament. This is not democracy. A democracy world over talks.
Can I say something that people will feel as they hear you talk about Rahul Gandhi? That Rahul Gandhi's really got under the skin of the BJP. You've used language like clueless repeatedly. You've suggested he's disconnected from his own leaders in
What
parliament.
is-
You suggested that he's...
What do I understand
But
when he
has
can't
Rahul
come?
Gandhi got under the skin of the BJP?
No.
Because
He
I
doesn't.
don't hear the
Actually,
BJP talk about others in this way.
Actually, you say people like us don't even refer to him because you talk about him, and it's more of you. We actually don't want to even discuss him because we do not find him in the scheme of things.
You have
inside
contempt
parliament.
for him?
No. He does not exist for us. Who is he for us? He's a member of parliament. He could be.
He's vice president of the second largest party. He could be president very soon.
Very soon. So he can
doesn't
become.
exist for
He
you.
can become a president of a one-member party. There are many political parties in this country who do not have a single member of parliament. We do not have any
You're saying
disrespect.
to me you have
we do
no
not have
respect.
any.
You're saying to
we
me
have
you
no
have-
disrespect for any individual.
But you're
My
saying
only
to me
question
you have
is
no respect for Rahul
I have
Gandhi.
you have just changing my word. I said absolutely inconsequential. If there could be 100 political parties, they have political process. They speak in. They have their own constitution. We have no. My only submission here is Parliamentary Affairs Minister. Why can't whatever he has to speak outside Parliament? Why doesn't he gather courage to come and speak inside Parliament? My only submission through you is why can't Rahul Gandhi speak?
I tell you, I'm going to conclude.
I think he can speak.
I'm going to conclude. Well, I assume so too.
I
but
think
again,
so.
I notice
If he
your
can speak,
sarcasm.
and
you see,
why
it's your
do you want
sarcasm.
to ask him?
You would not
Why
be
do you want to ask
sarcastic
him?
in this
Why do
way
you
of
want
his
to
mother.
ask me
Rahul
questions?
has
What is
got under your skin. You'd not be sarcastic, dismissive,
You see,
contemptuous of
I
anyone
would
else.
respect him as a member of parliament, leader in his party. Okay, member of parliament who have been in system for last 60 years. He should know how to speak. He should come and raise issues. He can't speak and he goes outside and you put a camera and
My
he becomes an
last
issue.
question before I change subjects. I get the clear feeling from this discussion we've had about the logjam in Parliament that over the next 3 days Parliament is not going to function, and in your mind, for all that you may say you're trying hardest, but in your mind you've accepted this session is washed out, nothing will be achieved,
Nothing
the
called
Rajya
washout.
Sabha will not function.
Nothing is a washout. It's a part of the political process. At least the country is seeing that how these 44 members of parliament who have been reduced from 400 to 44 are on the verge of extinction.
You really mean that? Congress thinks it's at the point of
if they
revival.
are behaving like this,
Congress thinks they are reviving.
and
These
the
are
best
tactics that are winning
parties,
support.
whatever small amount of space they have in some of the state governments would be taken away by all their allies who are behaving much better than the Congress friends.
Mr. Rudy, let's come, Mr. Rudy, on to the impact all of this will have on critical legislation that matters to the government, that matters to the country. First of all, Since it's pretty clear that Parliament is not going to function, and for certain the Rajya Sabha is not going to function, do you accept that you will not succeed in passing GST in the monsoon session?
Looks like.
You accept it?
Looks like. What does looks like mean? Looks like.
I'm going to ask you three critical questions. Firstly, if the left, the AIADMK and Congress vote against GST because they've already given dissenting notes to the parliamentary bill, do you accept you don't have a 2/3 in the Rajya Sabha in that situation?
Well, the saddest part is the Congress party, which possibly was the architect of the GST. Out of the 8 points which they had been brought in the legislation, they have gone back on the 7 points. So, well, let them answer. So, I would not be able to debate this issue, but let things come back to Parliament. Let the debate start, and we would be able to answer you better.
Actually, I'm just asking for a point of factual accuracy. Do you accept that if AIADMK,
I do not know,
left and Congress vote against, you don't have a 2/3 in the Rajya Sabha?
I will not talk things hypothetically. I will only talk once the process starts. Just a second. And once the legislation is again moved, discussion starts, possibly I would be in a position to answer. In a hypothetical situation, but we know GST was the brainchild of the Congress party. They were the architect of it. We carried it forward. We revised it. The whole report has come. It's gone to the committee. The report will come. We have tried to build up a political consultation and a consensus. And it's good for the nation, which we all believe, including the Congress party.
Let me come to my.
There were reservations of the states which have been addressed.
Let's come to those details later. Let's stick to Parliament for a moment. I'll come to the details of GST in a moment's time.
No, I'm not getting to the details of GST.
The first critical question was, if left, AIADMK and Congress vote against, you don't have a 2/3 in the Rajya Sabha. The second critical question is, should
I will not discuss anything about a legislation which has to be brought to Parliament, the numbers, and it will all. This will give you enough opportunity to take this for the next show. But you want to exhaust it now.
The second critical question is to do with procedure. Should a constitution amendment be passed amidst din and disruption in the Rajya Sabha, or do you believe?
Well, this is a discussion. I think the spectators will get bored about this possibility. We'll discuss when this happens.
But the point is, it's not going to happen because, as you accept, GST probably won't be passed.
Looks like. So I said, Karan, looks like. I would not be commenting things which in anticipation, but the idea is government would want it to happen. That is what's our commitment.
How much of a setback will it be if it doesn't happen? If GST doesn't pass, if GST doesn't roll out in 2016?
You see, after all, at the end of the day, good legislations have to be passed. And the legislations which are good, for the good of the nation has to be passed. What bad will happen, we'll speak later. Let's hope that...
But how expensive is a 1-year delay?
No. It has not been done for 60 years, so we understand the limitations of it. So what we are optimistic about, that it should happen, and that is what we are trying.
I'll tell you why I asked, because CII, Adi Godrej, several other industrials like Kiran
all of them we have
all gone public to say GST must pass in this session.
So to ask the Congress friends, ask them to ask the Congress friends.
Except that
they were the architect of
handling the economy is your responsibility.
So please ask, if they have such questions from us, they should also have similar questions for those who have been in this government for 67 years. At least we are making a sincere effort. If the democratic process says that this is how you have to do it, and if they don't allow us to do it, we have to follow the process.
I'm going to conclude.
But we are confident of achieving that. I can tell you. More process, modality.
But not in the monsoon session. That's your first answer in this section. You began by saying it looks as if it won't be passed in the monsoon session.
Let's apply some common sense. If the Parliament is not running, can you pass it in my drawing room? No. So let the parliamentary process begin. The first and the foremost thing is the Congress friends have to come and start debating.
I'm glad you put it as common sense. I accept it. On commonsensical terms, it's quite clear. GST won't pass in the monsoon session.
Because the Congress doesn't want it to happen.
One last question.
And Congress was the architect of the bill.
The country would like to know from you, what sort of impact will this have on investor sentiment? What sort of impact will it have on the economy? Because everyone believes it's essential.
You all... what do I say about it? It will have definitely a negative impact because it's a much awaited economic reform which we have been talking for maybe last 25 years. So if this reform happens, it's good for the nation. More industries will find it a facilitation for the process of revival of the economy, and many more things. Investments will flow in,
and now all of that will be delayed.
Yes, but then you have to accept it. This is a part of democracy. It's not that one individual decides, the process decides.
Let's come to land acquisition. All 11 BJP MPs on the parliamentary committee looking into land acquisition have in fact tabled and moved amendments that reverse your original intention.
I would not be aware of it. Let the reports come. I have not aware.
It's all over the papers.
But I read it in the papers. I will not comment on
Jayant
it.
Sinha, your Minister of State, has confirmed it just last week
So
to me.
it's okay. Then it's confirmed it. Then you quote him. I have nothing to comment on it.
I mean, you're not aware of it and he is?
No, I'm not saying not aware of it. I have nothing to add to it. So finally, when it comes to a debate, we'll discuss about it. So as of now, I'm not going on a policy statement on that. The facts which I have read is as much you have read in the newspapers, I have read. You want me to comment on it? As of now, I will not comment on it.
Okay, can you confirm the facts for me?
I will not confirm the facts for you because I've never seen that document.
But you must be aware of amendments being tabled by BJP MPs in a parliamentary committee or parliamentary
I'm not supposed to get inside every parliamentary committee and get the notes in the evening and read what everyone does. There's a whole process of it, and you don't expect the parliamentary affairs minister for day in and out to get into all recommendations of the committee. There's a whole process. It will come, the amendments will go to the government, it will process, brought to the government, amendments moved, and that is the time. Please don't expect me to know everything. I would know as much as I can answer. I'll answer things which I don't know, will not answer. So simply because you want to say, Mr. Rudy doesn't do his homework in the evening, he doesn't read through those 10,000 papers which are delivered in the evening, I don't do. I've got many more things to do. I will read the day it is relevant, and and once you tell me that, Mr. Rudy, I have these questions around these issues, I'll come back to you.
The conclusion that the country has come to, both from what Jayant Sinha admitted on this show just last week, but also from all the news reports and also from statements made by your own BJP MPs, which are not denied because they are the ones moving the amendments, is that, and let me finish, that your government is doing a significant U-turn on land acquisition, which is a huge victory for Congress. And the question is, why are you doing it?
Just a second, a huge victory for the Congress. My government will do whatever is best for the poor, for the farmers, for the needy, for the tribals, for those, and we are going to do everything for development. The nitty-gritty of it, course I don't know it. What has changed? You see what?
I won't come to nitty-gritty.
Just a second.
I want to quote Arun Jaitley.
But you quote him. Then why you are asking me to confirm things?
No, I'm not asking to confirm. I'm asking
you have a peculiar style of... You pick up because whole day you are doing only one thing, is picking up articles and reading them and asking your people to make notes for you.
You're a brilliant politician.
And then your whole office works to build up questions.
But not answering it.
How can I answer?
Great strategy.
Now here is Mr. Karan Thapar, who is talking about a report which has to come or has come, or some members have opposed something or they have written something. So he wants to talk to Mr. Rudy that, how do I know, boss? How do I accept?
The Parliamentary Affairs Minister is pleading ignorance about what his MPs are doing in a parliamentary committee on a land acquisition bill that was perhaps the key cornerstone of the government's economic agenda. I find it hard to believe you don't know it. But what I do accept is you don't want to talk about it.
No,
you don't want to talk about it.
It's a property of the House. You want me to talk about it?
You don't want to talk about it because it's a U-turn that you're doing, and if you accept it, it's embarrassing, and if you don't accept it, you're denying the truth.
It has not come to me.
So you don't know about it?
I don't know about it.
Let me take a different approach.
It's a very funny thing.
Let me take a different approach.
Let the viewers understand. Here is Karan Thapar. You said, why don't you know this? I know the original bill. I know the amendments there. I know what the government thought, how the process. Now he says...
But you don't know the amendments brought to your amendments by your own MPs. Isn't that bizarre?
It's not bizarre. There is 542, 282. There is a committee. There is a discussion. There is a secretariat. Mr. Karan Thapar, how you take your guest for a ride and how you try to pose question. How do I... No. I'm not a minister for rural development.
You're not letting me talk at the moment either.
I'm a wizard for everything. I know enough. And when it comes, I can speak for 5 hours non-stop on the land bill. But I must know the motion.
But
here you are expecting.
Give me a moment, and we know
the bill which was... Just a second. The bill which he had so many lacunae. Not a single industry. It talked about corridors. It talked about 4 times compensation. It talked about employment for those people. I know everything. It's not Mr. Karan Thapar who knows everything. We also know. Because you have the time to pose questions and say that, you don't know? We know it. But for God's sake,
Rudy,
there are issues inside Parliament.
You have to pause at some point because you've run out of breath, and then I'll ask a question.
Yes.
Good, you've run out of breath. Many people feel that in fact under land acquisition you've come under pressure from the Akali Dal and the Shiv Sena, you've come under pressure from the Swadeshi Jagran Manch and the BKS.
Okay, maybe.
Are you retreating under pressure?
Maybe. How do I know?
Maybe.
I'm not handling that bill. I'm the minister.
You're the Parliamentary Affairs Minister. You were about to say you weren't.
I must know finance. Must know atomic energy. I must know education. I must know road transport, I must know. Rural development, I must know.
But you know parliamentary procedure. In June, Arun Jaitley in Santiago said that the government would go as far as the joint session
no, everyone
to pass
would be
it.
convinced
Suddenly
that
you're resigning from that commitment and that position. And I ask you why.
What I'm saying is, I can talk, let the papers come to me. I will talk about what is the changes without in anticipation of a press report. As a parliamentary affairs, Mr. Karan Thapar on his show wants me to respond. This is how you want to fix the agenda of the country. It's not going to happen anymore. If you think the agenda of the nation is going to be discussed on a and for people like you who cannot ask,
let's leave it to the audience to decide whether you've answered the question,
like you,
evaded the question,
people like
or
Karan
simply
will
stop
never
me
say
asking questions.
let the nation's agenda be discussed in parliament. Not once you have said.
I've said it repeatedly.
Your entire agenda has to be said outside. No,
I've
you never.
said it repeatedly in my programs, but you're
the
deflecting
audience
the
must
subject.
know Karan Thapar would never say in democracy. Mr. Karan Thapar would not say in democracy all agenda has to be listed in parliament.
We are getting to a strange position where we're just quarreling for the sake of quarreling without achieving any purpose. And all you're doing is talking because you don't want to answer the question I'm asking. You don't even want me to get a chance to ask it.
I think you are absolutely incorrect.
Can I
this will all head for a sin. I know you'll go back to the studio, clip whatever you want.
Not at all. Every word that you're saying will be on air, including that lovely winning smile of yours. But let me now put something to you.
I would love to hear from Karan Thapar. I would love to hear that let issues of national importance be discussed. The agenda is fixed every day, be discussed. He would never say, because he'll lose his job or he'll lose his money if he doesn't discuss, if all the good things get discussed in parliament.
You made your allegation. Now take a pause and let me put this to you. If GST doesn't happen, and you said a moment ago it looks like it's not going to happen, if land acquisition gets and if land acquisition gets reversed because it looks that's precisely what your MPs are going to do,
and I don't think so.
This will be a huge setback for your government's economic agenda. It will be a huge setback for your government's political resolve.
Let us see how it moves. So this is your observation. You have a free editorial to write, but we are convinced that we are going to move this country exactly the way we have thought, for the welfare of the poor, for the welfare of the students, of the unemployed, of the tribals.
Observation. I want to quote to you Swaminathan Iyer writing in the Economic Times on the 5th of August.
I have not read his. I have not read him.
I'll tell you. You don't have
Sorry,
to read it.
Karan, I have not read him. You can read it out.
I'll read it out.
Yes, I understand, but I'll not give you a chance because you will ask a question after that. I have not read Swaminathan Iyer on that editorial page.
He calls your Prime Minister petrified. He says the land acquisition fiasco reveals him as frightened and indecisive, happier retreating than fighting to the finish. This is the impact of the PM, your government, your economic agenda and your political resolve.
Swaminathan Iyer has written something. It's for the audience. It's not for me to respond to it. And I'm very happy. This is how people get caught in your television show, because you pick up papers which you think is not good in the paper, in the print, and you come back and ask those questions. I don't think it had any relevance when you spoke to me, because your whole team of 50 people pick up these questions to pose it to.
Okay.
Let's come. I don't think it doesn't make any sense. We have a government, we have a prime minister, we have a whole system. We know that we do not have the numbers in the Rajya Sabha. We do not have the number. We have the number. We'll pass these legislations. We'll do whatever is best for the country. Please, for God's sake, at least put all this agenda on the right foot.
It's going to be very different.
And please, for God's sake.